Hello, my friends. I'm back. Yep, after about a month, more than a month's hiatus, I am back to, not schedule, but I'm back to filming videos. Now, I mainly want to do this video to give you not only an update of of what's going on now, but to give you a little bit of a summary of what I went through. I have to be careful here because some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is of sensitive information. It's not that I can't legally talk about it per se, it's just that some of the people probably don't want their information, detailed information given. So I try to be as vague and broad as possible. However, it is information that I think to a certain extent that my viewers should know, or at the very least may want to know, that may explain why I was on a hiatus and why I'm kind of changed because of it. Or at the very least, why my videos might be slightly different because of it. So I want to talk about it in three parts. The first part is summarizing what happened before my hiatus. Second part would be summarizing what's going on after my hiatus and what the future holds. The third part, which is going to be the meat of this video, is going to be discussing what that month with my cousin was like. So first, let's get into the beginning parts of it. About 3 months ago, which would be about 2 months before my cousin actually came to our ecosphere, we got I got a text from my mother. No, not a text. I guess it was a call. A call from my mother saying that my cousin, who I'll be naming Cuz here, short for cousin, will be staying with us, the family, for the summer. Because I was going to be planning my summer anyway, I decided to go help them as well. And I did courses. I did my summer courses through all that. I'm doing summer courses in college to get get out of the way the easy but time-consuming courses. So anyway, that's basically what happened. And then I gave an update video, which will be the video right before this, about why I will be gone for a while. In fact, I actually did that video kind of late because I was with my parents earlier than about, I don't know, 5 days before we got there or something like that. I don't remember. But I got there early, and that's why in that video the setting was a lot different because I was there preparing for him to arrive. And then he did, and then outside of an obligated collab video that I was in, I decided to film again, but that's because it was late at night. It was late. I had already slept late, and my cousin was already asleep. And I'll explain to you why that was so important. But essentially, that's what happened. I got a call. I decided to visit my cousin as well. I did my summer courses there, so that added to the tension, and now it's done. In fact, as we speak, my cousin is headed home as right now. Now, afterwards, how did we get to this point? And what will happen to the future? Well, my cousin is going back. I'm back to I'm back to normal. I'm preparing as we speak for the fall semester of my college, and the schedule should be back to semi-normal. I say that because not only do I have to adjust back to normal life, just like my parents do and my cousin does. So while you should see more regular video postings, you may not see it in the regular way that you're used to seeing it. I hope that I can be regular again, and I'm even hoping to have a video for Monday. We'll see what happens. But that's what I hope. I hope to be back on schedule, because I'm going to need to have a schedule with the relatively hard courses I'm going to be doing in the fall. So there's a lot of adjustments. We had to adjust, including my cousin, we had to adjust to a new lifestyle, and then we had to adjust back to the old one, for better or worse. So now we got that, let's get into the, messy parts of this story. Again, I'm going to keep it as vague as possible because I don't want to give too much information away because at least at the time of this video, no one in my family circle knows I do ASMR or even do videos, period. And it's rather unlikely going to find mine on YouTube. But if they do, it is what it is. Anyway, And that's the first reason. The second reason I don't want to go into too much detail is the last thing I want is for my cousin years down the road to find this video and resent anything I might have said. I think certain issues need to be talking about, but a lot of the specific and messy ones don't have to be touched. So that's what I'm going to do. So again, there's nothing crazy I'm going to talk about. At least the crazy stuff I'm going to leave out, because honestly, that's not something anyone wants to hear. However, I think it's important to figure out, to go through what the events that at least pertain to me, for the most part, went on. So let's begin. First off, when he arrived, he was rather excited to see us. And I think that part of that reason is his memory when he was really young. Like when he was like, I don't remember how old he was, but he was like a tyke. He apparently remembered playing with us and having so much fun. When did that happen? I don't remember when you were living, but I was obviously still living with my parents, so that was a while ago. So I think he remembered that. That's why I was so excited to see us, me specifically, but us, the family, and any siblings or other family members I might have. So that's what happened. He was excited at first to see us, and the first couple of days it was fine. He was a little hyper, but we kind of already knew that. Even when we met him the first time, he was a little bit hyper. In fact, my grandma thought he may have had ADHD. I don't think he does, but that's not really a discussion we're having right now. So at first it was fine, a little hyper, but nothing too out there. Like, I was hyper, and still kind of am to a certain extent, and it wasn't that insane. But when we got to like day 4, day 5, then things started to go a little bit rocky. One thing we discovered is my cousin doesn't really have respect for authority. And that doesn't sound too surprising, because what kid does? However, his seemed to be a little worse than most others. And I do think it has a lot to do with his history. And I think that's important to go into if we're going to talk about this at all. I'm not going to go into too many details due to its very sensitive nature. But I don't know what age it happened, but let's just say that somebody he trusts did something that somebody you trust should not do. I'm not talking about like his father. In fact, his father is actually my dad's brother, so that means he's my cousin. He's my dad's nephew, so that's where that's coming from. It did not involve my uncle in any way, but it did involve somebody he trusted, and because of that, my uncle lost custody of him because the courts ruled. The courts of Florida. They were in Florida, I believe. Were they? No. They were not in Florida. I get my family mixed up sometimes. No, that was on my mom's side. So never mind. But the courts of, I can't remember. What was it? Who cares? The courts of a certain state ruled that he should not be given custody. So that custody went to my grandma, but not at first. And he was put into, or from what I've researched, from his testimony and some other one, and my father and my uncle's testimony, 7 different foster homes in 3 years. And for anybody who's growing, that is a hard thing to go through. Our foster homes are not exactly of great condition, and for someone like him, that's already bad enough. So his disrespect for authority makes sense, even if not necessarily something you want to go through. But that's not the only issue. And this, again, as I say this, remember that I don't blame him for anything. He only knows what he knows. Kind of like, getting mad if for I guess a relevant analogy, getting mad at a native an Amazon native for using the wrong pronouns. It's like, well, yeah, you might think it's wrong, but they don't. They have no concept of different pronouns or different genders for that matter. Kind of same thing here. My cousin, I can't blame him because a lot of stuff that we knew at his age is simply not something that he knows even exists. So here's, first off, it's worth mentioning he acts way younger than his age. I'm not going to give his age away, but let's say he acts like a 5-year-old and he's not 5. It's actually rather bizarre for him. It's actually rather bizarre to see him act like this. He was incredibly defiant, and that really took a toll on my family. Because while I was defiant at 5. I was not defiant at his age. He kind of, like I said, it's really hard to deal with because my parents, who for the most part took the brunt of it, I took the brunt of it in the morning, but my parents took it in the afternoon so I can rest and do school. It's hard for my parents to go through with it because they're old now, and they are going through it with me. There's no reason for them to go through it with now. But so is my grandma. My grandma's having to go through it, and there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that. You see, my grandma, if I can speak properly, took custody of him because her thinking was, okay, well, my uncle is going to get custody back, so this is not a big deal. Well, guess what? The court said, no, we are not going to give custody back to my uncle. My grandma will have custody of my cousin until he's 18 years old. That's several years away still. So now it's like, uh-oh, I'm tired. I can't deal with years of this. So now what? Kind of goes to show you that you never make assumptions. Well, that isn't the only issue, at least as it pertains to us. Another reason why he was so hard to sometimes deal with, probably the biggest reason he was so hard to sometimes deal with, is that he has, for lack of a better word, he has no empathy. And it's really rather bizarre because somebody his age is either developing, or for that matter, even starting to, or for that matter, has already developed empathy. It's basic child psychology. At some point, well-adjusted children will grow empathy, thinking of others. Because children, by usual standards, are selfish by nature. We all were, okay? However, his goes beyond that. He's lacking empathy at an age where he really should have them. He's actually lacking a lot of knowledge in places that he should already have been taught. For instance, I think with this problem with empathy is that he doesn't care, or at the very least, either doesn't care or doesn't understand the hardships some go through. For instance, he's always wanting to play with me 24/7. But he could either never understand or simply does not care that I had school to do. I had to prepare like presentations. I had to get ready for tests. I had to practice tests. I had to do homework. So it was hard for him to understand, especially in this summer period where it's all condensed. Either it was impossible for him to understand, or he just had no reason to care about my certain hardships. And I'm hardly the only one that happened to. The lack of empathy even goes to parts that seem trivial. For instance, my father had spent a lot of time during the summer fixing his only vehicle. So my cousin, for a little bit, became slightly resentful that he couldn't do anything with him. And when my father said, well, what do you want me to do? It's not exactly an easy fix. We were fixing our differential time. He said, well, can't you just get a new vehicle? As if it was so easy to get a new vehicle. And that's what we're dealing with here. For instance, he also, when we were looking through the movies that we like to watch, he's like, well, why don't you have Georgia Jungle? And it's like, we don't own it. He's like, well, why can't you get it? He also liked things on Netflix such as Stranger Things. And he either didn't understand, didn't care to understand that we don't use Netflix. My parents don't use Netflix, and I don't even use Netflix where I live. Because I don't watch TV. My parents don't watch new TV, and I don't watch TV at all. And to him, that just doesn't matter. In fact, he wanted to go home early because he missed his game called Gary's Mod on Steam. And it seemed kind of bizarre to me that he only wants to go home because he misses a game. Let's go back to my theory of lack of empathy. A lot of the stuff he should know, he doesn't know. And it can even go to some stuff that are serious. For instance, at his age, you expect somebody like him to be able to look both ways right across the street. He does not do that. You also don't give out personal information. He does. We were fishing a couple weeks ago, and we were just chatting with a stranger, having fun, because fishermen are nice. Then, obligatorily, he was talking about, his grandma, and he's like, you should talk to her. Her phone number is blah, 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 blah. We had to stop, and it was like, whoa, why is he doing this? We don't know this guy. We don't know if he's going to harass her. What's going on here? And it was just, we were so disturbed by that. It was like, at his age, there's no way I would do that. No way whatsoever. And we couldn't punish him because, we're not entirely sure he knows he shouldn't. That seemed like something so natural, it's not like he doesn't know he shouldn't. It's not like he knows he shouldn't do it, he does it anyway. it's very possible and quite likely that he doesn't know he shouldn't do that. And again, the reasons for this are obvious, but I don't think I can go into it because it's not just the foster care. It's not just the problems he's had with people he trusts. It's simply the way he was raised, and to an extent, I don't go into details because then it implicates family member, which I'm not going to do on YouTube. But let's just say that I know the reasons he's like this, but I can't share it with you guys. But you can make inferences, so you can put two and two together. What I mean by that, who I'm implicating, and who if you will, what the cool kids are saying where I'm throwing the shade. Another problem is we had to kind of treat him to an extent like he had special needs, which is ironic because he did not have special needs. He just sometimes acted like he did. And I think it has something to do with the pseudo ADHD he has. Or because if he has ADHD, it's very selective. In fact, it's predictably selective. His ADHD and stuff he doesn't want to do, but he's perfectly focused on stuff he does want to do. And from what I've read, that would not be the case if he had ADHD. So I don't know. Another thing is he's quite manipulative. We had to punish him with no sugar because when we gave him stuff, he kind of acted out. Not because he got hyper because he got sugar, because we gave him some sugar-free stuff, he did the same thing. I believe he acted out because, well, his mind is like, well, I got the sugar, so now he can't punish me, I already ate it. So one time he asked one of my family members who did not know we were not going to give him sugar if he could have some sugary juice, and he got it, without knowing that he shouldn't get it. And that's manipulation. And the worst, and the worst part about the manipulation is that he's actually really smart. We've heard him speak, and my parents can attest on the ride home that he's actually very smart, very very smart kid. So I'm not saying that special needs kids aren't smart. I would never claim that, but his mind clearly is not in a special needs case. Like I said, I hope that does not sound offensive. I hope you know what I mean by that. But in other words, he's not slow or anything. He doesn't show signs of autism. You get the idea. Again, I'm not saying special needs kids aren't smart. Like, I would argue some of them are smarter than not regular, but, smarter than, I guess for lack of a better phrase, usual, normal people. But he does not have special needs. He understands everything perfectly. He seems adequately smart. It's just that intelligence is stuck into a 5-year-old demeanor. He's also not really a pathological liar, but he lies constantly, even about small things. For instance, very often when we were asked, does he like this particular movie, he would say no, but then maybe a couple days later watch it and say, no, he's always liked this movie. And this happens all the time. For instance, he told us with dinner he doesn't like strawberries, but the next night he won more strawberries because he likes strawberries. So it's rather bizarre. The only time he doesn't lie is if something he really doesn't like. He hates squash. Getting him to eat it is like pulling teeth. And he loves anything sugary. But generally he will lie about things that he's okay with, or just has general like or general dislike for. So it's kind of hard to deal with that. Like, again, I know the reason he does it, but I'm not going to go into it here. Another problem is that he has no tolerance for something that he will not do. For instance, he likes exercising only if it's on the bike. If he can ride his bike. If he wants to walk, like I like to sometimes, he does not want to do it, and can be really defiant. In fact, he's told me that he doesn't even like exercising on the bike that much. He only does it because he can skip school. I'm not going to get into that, but he uses his bike to skip school. The only thing he wants to do, and he says, and I quote, he wants to stay home and be lazy all day. Because someone he knows does that. Again, put two and two together. And it's like, it's hard to get him to do stuff because in his worldview, at least the way it seems, the only thing that exists are things he likes. If it's not something he doesn't like or doesn't care about, it doesn't even pertain to his worldview. It became bizarre. This became apparent to me about 2 weeks in when my father and him had a big argument out in our driveway about how he just doesn't understand how the world works. About how we can't just fix a truck, or as he said one time, just get a new car. We can't just do that. He does not understand, doesn't care to understand our financial hardships. He doesn't understand that pretty much any money I have and make goes into school. It just goes there. I have pretty much nothing in the way of expendable capital. And that's something he does not understand. I can't just get something, especially just get something expensive, because I'm not able to. And this became the most apparent when we were renting a car, and we said, well, hold on, if you are correct, if we put a car, because our my parents' driveway is sloped, so if we put a car neutral, it's going to slide down. And this car that we rented was got a good 1,000 pounds plus. It was actually more like a van. My dad said, if I put a neutral and starts to go down the hill, do you think you can stop it? And his answer by himself, and his answer was, yes, I can. He literally doesn't understand that he can't do things, or that some things just can't happen. If he believes it can, then according to him, it must be true. And we're talking about like things that most people by his age would understand. It's just not possible. Like if a 1,000-pound car is coming to you, you're not going to stop it. That's just not happening. So I hope it doesn't sound like I resent the visit, because I don't. In fact, some things are fun. He really likes playing, roughhousing, and being chased. Even though he doesn't like walking, when I chase him, he really likes that and has a lot of fun. And I like helping. Like, as I said in that video from Black Cat Aura, I think that's her name, in that cat's collab, I really like helping when I can, because I think that's God's purpose. That's what God commands us to do, is to help our neighbors, and especially help our family. So I love my cousin dearly, even if some stuff disturbs me. Especially that one part where he was talking in ways that people shouldn't talk at his age. Now, I can't say exactly what brought about that, but let's just say that he got certain language from certain types of videos on the internet that are very prevalent, that people his age, and really people in general, should not be watching. So, yeah. And, of course, that wasn't by his own accord, in a way. But, again, I won't be vague, because I'm not going to get into that. That's just not going to happen. But when you understand all the problems, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. Now, the biggest issue now is the complete 180 my family has made in the prospect of adopting him permanently. Now, my position is this, for me personally. It's not that I'm not willing to take him. I'm willing to help in any way I can. In fact, if I could, and if it would come out that my parents were taking him permanently, I would find my way to move close to them. That would be my goal. Whether it happens or not is another story, but that would be my goal. However, during this visit, most of my family has made a complete 180 on that. I'm not going to go into all my family members, because some of their reasoning is out there. I don't want to throw shade on my family, but come on. There's kind of a rant right now. And yeah, like, let's just say some of my family is just, some of the stuff they say is just so out there. But that's another discussion for another day if you guys care. But my mother has gone from, we really should take him in fact, we should really homeschool him, to, I can't deal with this. We cannot accept him until there's major changes in his behavior, which, by the way, are not going to happen in the environment he's going back to. The weird thing is, I think my folks had this idea that we could fix problems that took years to fester in a month. And I think my parents, or my folks, not my parents specifically, but my folks expected to, and it's like it's basic child psychology, it was not going to be fixed in a simple month. We did see some minor improvement in certain things, like he says please and thank you now. He says yes ma'am, yes sir, that's great. However, some major things just have not seen improvement whatsoever. Like, at his age, he is still picking things up off the ground he should not be picking up. For instance, if I see a dead bird on the ground, I know I'm not picking it up, I'm staying far away. He doesn't. He will walk up there and pick it up. So, it's a lot of damage that took years to break in him that will take years to fix. So, and my parents, my folks, for some reason, think that it's beyond, not necessarily beyond hope, but that we can't do anything about it, or at least don't want to, because it's not what they thought it was going to be. Which doesn't make any sense. Me personally, this is exactly how I thought it was going to be. His behavior is not what bothers me, because his behavior, honestly, in my point of view, is about on par with what I was expecting. Nothing is that out there for the most part. My problem is the supposed method. other not method, but motive. I thought that he would be like this because of lack of structure, but I think it's malice. I think he does on purpose, not necessarily because he doesn't know any better per se in some things, but it's because he doesn't care. He lacks empathy. And the problem is that if that is correct, then if that's the premise, the simple conclusion is this is due to negligence on any guardians he's had, from any guardians he's had. Again, I'm not going to implicate anyone. You guys can put two and two together. So that's what's going on. I'm not going to say I necessarily liked the visit with him, but because it was very hard on us. Like, I'm a young man with a lot of energy and pretty fit, and even I got tired. So I can only imagine what my grandma has gone through and will be going through. My grandma and my uncle, who apparently, according to what I've heard, does stay with my grandma and his son, even if he doesn't have custody. Even if he doesn't have legal custody. We're hoping he does soon, and pray for my cousin and my uncle if you're a praying kind, and hopefully things go well. But right now, it's a real mess. Like I said, I'm not going to lie and say I necessarily like the visit, but I'm very appreciative and grateful that it did come, because some information I get from my family is not necessarily misleading per se, but something's always left out. So it's nice to know that even through him, to an extent, because I know my cousin likes to lie, through him I did hear some stuff that I'm most definitely not going to repeat on YouTube. Not happening in a million years. That did explain what's going on, but yeah. So to conclude, this month's visit, longer than a month, because actually we had extended a week because my grandma had issues. She's on fixed income, so she has to plan every little expense. And we have to meet her in the middle, because where she's living now versus where my parents live is a long way, so they have to meet in the middle. But I wanted to go into this because this visit has affected me. It's given me more information, probably more than I wanted to know, and has gotten me thinking about the possible future of my cousin. I want to help in every way I can, but just because I want to doesn't mean I'm able to. My worst fear is that he goes back into foster care. But the last thing I want is for him to go back to foster care for his remaining years, and 18 just kicked to a curb, and we'll see what happens after that. That's my worst fear right now, because that happened to someone else I know, and it's just not a pretty sight. So I'm hoping I can help in any way I can, and I hope I don't seem selfish if I can't accept him. We'll have to see. But that's pretty much my problems. I know you guys probably don't care about my problems that much, so I mainly want to make this video telling you that I'm back. I'm going to be trying to give my videos regularly, and here are my plans for future videos. I'm still going to do my reviews, though I don't know how often I'm going to do them. It seems like when it comes to popularity, they don't do as well as some of these rambles. It's actually kind of bizarre. My update videos, which should not appeal to outside subscribers, but they do. Like this one will probably do okay. So I'm going to have to really decide. My whole gimmick is the review videos, but they don't seem to do as well. I also want to do a new twist on a particular type of video that I see a lot, but it's a little different, you know. So we'll go into that. I'll give you that's a little bit of a hint of what I'll be doing. No, it's not gang signs, I promise. I just realized looking back in the camera, that was kind of weird. But that's really the future. I want to talk about this because it was a hard 5 weeks. It was a hard summer. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this affected me probably permanently. I have now probably anxiety back on my mind of the future, so I just hope and pray that everything goes well. It's kind of hard to look at a situation that you have no control over, but you have to trust that God is in control, even if it doesn't always seem like it, and just hope for the best. So just want to thank you all very much for supporting me. The funny part is I've actually grown subscribers since my hiatus, not lost them. I know, it's so bizarre. But I just want to thank you all for supporting me as you do. Thank you for being patient, and I hope you enjoy my future videos. So until next time, thank you all very much for checking in on me, and God bless.